Okay, are we recording? I believe we are. Okay, so uh, welcome back to Josh Smith's Overall Forge. Pastor Josh Smith here. I've been called out on the Manky Tank Challenge for those of you that are following it, going around the series through all the other Smiths in the community. Valhalla Forge, or Valhalla, or however you pronounce it. Um, he started this thing, and he started talking about the idea of what exactly is in your slack buckets, your quench tanks, your water buckets to cool something off in, but not necessarily for quenching, for heat treating or anything like that. Um, he started this process off of what's in your tank and how nasty is it and what are you going to find in the bottom of it. And I tell you what, we've seen some funny stuff, like old Ting Ting finding Lieutenant Dan and Willie in his in the bottom of his Manky tank. We saw old James Duncan over there at the Sprinkled Donut Forge. We saw him pull on like a full-on Clockwork Orange thing and go diving into his. We saw Sully yesterday that literally dove into his tank. We saw ice blobs in old Ben Toombs and in Jeremiah Champs. We saw Rob Garman pulling all sorts of stuff out of there. I mean, cups and everything else. I'll be honest with you guys, mine is going to be very, very anticlimactic. Strictly because, yeah, I don't really have anything in my tanks because, quite frankly, my tanks are empty most of the time. Being out here in California, it's hot temperatures, so during the summertime, I can fill a small little tank up, and 2 days later, the thing is half empty from just evaporation. So I'll show you my tanks. I have a funny story to tell about one of my tanks that I was using for when I was doing my Kiridashis, to be able to do an edge quench on those. And then I'll show you my main quench tank for if I have to harden something with oil. It's empty right now because I have a 5-gallon bucket that I use for that, and the oil that I got was some oil that is soybean oil that was given to me, used soybean oil that came from a local convenience store that fries burritos and chicken and corn dogs and stuff like that in it, and they gave me their used oil, and I filtered it out and got the chunks of chicken skin and other just junk that was in the bottom of the tank when they drained their fryer. I filtered all that stuff out and just used a strainer and a funnel and filtered it out, and then poured it back into the jug that it came in, because it's wrapped in cardboard and it's got a really good sealable lid so that it can keep from going rancid, hopefully. And I just poured it out of my quench bucket. So I'll show you what I got, but don't be expecting to be too impressed. So let me show you first my. I'll show you first I gotta pry the lid off of it here. Here is my quench tank. Like I said, I filtered everything out and I poured it in there, and then when I was done, I poured it back in. So there's a little bit of oil down in the bottom of it, but it's empty. There's a little tiny bit of scale down in the bottom of it, but that's it. And like I said, when I got done using it, I put the lid back on it and got it out of the way. For my water, what I use every day when I'm out here just to cool down while I'm grinding, or if it's something that's not going to harden or whatever, I have an old Folgers coffee can. I'm not sponsored or nothing. In fact, I don't really drink Folgers coffee. But I got this old Folgers coffee can, and it's rusty on the inside, but I mean, the water itself, while there's some rust, it's, until I got my hand in there and stirred it up, it's clear. There's a little bit of scale on the bottom of it, but there is nothing in here at all. Not even enough gunk on the bottom of it to pull up a handful of anything. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Doesn't even smell bad. It smells a little rusty, but that's it. The other thing, and this is my funny story that I've got for you. The other thing that I've got is, for when I was doing my kiridashis, Becky keeps a lot of coconut oil around the house, and I'd heard coconut oil was pretty good for quenching in. So I quenched in coconut oil. And since I was just doing an edge quench, I thought, well, I don't need to have that big of a container. So I was asking Becky if she could help me find a container that I could put a little bit of coconut oil on the bottom of. And so she says, well, let me look around. So she found, this was just like the butter cookies that you get at Christmas time. She found this. We had got it from the dollar store, and we spent, because it was after Christmas when we got this, I think we spent 25 cents or 50 cents for this tin of cookies. But it came in a cute little tin, and I filled the thing up with coconut oil and just did my edge quench in there. And literally, as I was finishing with all of my kiridashi pieces, I had the tin sitting on top of my anvil, and I've got a 70-pound NC standard anvil, and it was doing good. It was pulling the hot edge straight out of the forge right into the edge quench. The very last one, I get done, and I bumped the edge of the tin as I was coming out, and the tin went down, teetered back and forth, and then down, and I ended up with coconut oil spread all over the shop area here. It got on the anvil, it got on all the steel that's stacked down here on the ground. I got a bunch of scrap pieces down here all over the place. It was all over the floor, all over everything. But that's basically the most, I guess, the most inventive, most interesting story about my quench tanks. I do have, in case I ever do start getting into anything bigger and I need something bigger, I've got an old bucket that I'm using as a trash can. I have no idea even what it was for initially, but it's a cut off old barrel that I've got that I can use for quenching if I need to get into anything bigger. I also have a big 30-gallon plastic trash can that I've got it for if I need to keep anything that might be rodent attracting. I've got it for that. So I can take whatever it is out of there and use it if I need to for a larger quench. But yeah, that's what I got. That is the extent of my Manky tank challenge. I know they're not very manky, and they're kind of not even really tanks that much. But hey, it is what it is. Need a tool, make a tool. I needed a tank, so I made a tank out of an old Folgers can and a cookie tin and a 5-gallon bucket. So anyway, let's see. I'm supposed to call somebody out. I am going to, because he's a good friend and he has not been called out yet, I am going to call out my good friend and brother, Heath from Shepherd's Forge. I'm calling him out. Brother, we need to see your tank. And then, you know what? I'm going to swing for the fences. Somebody else was talking about swinging for the fences. I'm going to swing for the fences on a big dog, a big fish. I'm going to swing for the fences. Initially, I'm going to call out Mr. Alex Steele. You've got enough assistants to help you with editing and all that stuff that I'm sure somebody can let him know that he has been called out. We want to see what's in your tank. And with all your assistants and everything, you probably don't have anything in your tank. It probably gets cleaned out on a real regular basis. But with your production team and everything, you could come up with something pretty interesting and fun if you wanted to do that. So, Alex Steele, I am calling you out, sir. Good luck on the challenges, gentlemen. God bless. And as a backup, if for some reason somebody has called out Alec or Heath, my third choice would be another big fish, Chandler Dickinson. You are called out too, in case the other two have already been called out. So, God bless. Thanks for watching. See you next time.